Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we're going to be talking about LCX. And before we fully jump on into this video, I just want to ask all of you guys out there that are watching, how have you guys been? Comment down below, let me hear from you guys, and also hit that like button if you guys haven't already. But with that in mind, I do want to talk to you guys about why I believe that LCX is extremely undervalued, and also why I think that's actually kind of misunderstood. So, a lot of people think that LCX is just an exchange token, which it's totally understandable. When we take a look at the branding, it's mainly branded around an exchange, which we will get to here in a second. But I made this tweet and I said I still believe one of the most undervalued gems in this space is LCX. And we do see from crypto investor, aka 10_41, which again, no hate, no disrespect or anything like that. But we do see, I disagree. I believe it's a hyped up exchange token trying to bring liquidity to an exchange that has none. Now, yes, when we take a look at LCX, is there a lot of the liquidity on the exchange? It's very slim, right? There's not a lot of liquidity on LCX. And you might be looking at LCX and you're like, all right, well, yeah, it's just an exchange, right? It's so much more than an exchange, and we will get to that here in a second. But as an exchange, it's still very early on in its building phase. I mean, there's only 8,000 weekly visits to the LCX exchange. There's only almost $1.6 million worth of trading volume, and the liquidity score is 213, which actually that's not that bad compared to most other top tier exchanges. Though, yeah, it might look pretty bad on paper, but compared to some of these other ones up here that are in the top 50, it's not terrible. But again, there's not a ton of weekly visits. There's not a ton of trading volume for LCX because of how early on it still is. Now, as we do look at LCX, we really kind of look at it in the same way that we look at any other token in the space. We focus on much more than just the face value of the token, meaning I'm not just looking at it as an exchange token. There's still a lot of other products that are built out on LCX. For an example, you have all of them here. You have the exchange, the launchpad, the decentralized exchange, mobile protocol, assets, Oracle, and smart order. And a lot of these are pretty large products. Now, the exchange itself might not be the best. A lot of people have been mentioning to me that the exchange, just from user experience, which yes, I've utilized it myself, it is still a little bit rough. I'm going to be honest with you guys. It's not the best exchange that I've ever used or anything like that. But I do think that currently, right now, it's still in its building phase. They're still working on a lot of things. And as we do look at liquidity as well, this could be the fact that when we look at the backing behind this, it's a one-to-one backing, and user funds are never mixed with the entire exchange operations, which means that, hey, when you go and buy on another exchange, you might be utilizing user funds as liquidity. You don't know what you are utilizing when you are buying those tokens. I know Uphold, for an example, Uphold holds your crypto. You can't withdraw it. Certain ones, of course, like Casper, you cannot withdraw Casper from Uphold. And it's actually held on the exchange. You can't move it, you can't withdraw it. So a lot of that's concerning to me. When we take a look at LCX, yeah, liquidity is low, but when we take a look at what they are doing and the operations behind LCX as an exchange, I know that I can trust them to have my crypto on the exchange and I could withdraw it immediately. So that's another thing that I focus on whenever I look at these exchanges. I do think that LCX is one of the most regulated exchanges out there, but also outside of just the exchange token, itself and the exchange aspect, there's a lot more offerings to LCX. Now, I see a lot of people get caught up and comparing it to BNB. BNB to LCX, completely different story. Binance has been a very large exchange since years ago. So they were really early on in the exchange business, and they became a huge success. I mean, when you go over to the top exchange listings, you could see that Binance is the number one with $18.4 billion worth of trading volume and 14 million weekly visits. So they are a huge exchange. BNB had an incredible success. It went from 10 cents to $700 plus, doing a monstrous 7,000x return. But is LCX going to do the same thing? not likely, in my opinion. But I do think that LCX is going to perform very well going forward on in time because, again, outside of the exchange aspect, there is still a lot more happening on its entire platform. Tokenization is a big one as well. And we actually do see from the CEO that JP Morgan wants to bring trillions of dollars of assets to the DeFi space. And we even see like LCX is ready to lead this space of tokenization. Now, again, when we take a look at tokenization on LCX, it has been one of their branding marks. Even when we take a look at like the front page, the future will be tokenized. Digital asset revolution is happening, and what they are doing is becoming that exchange for compliant token sales. They recently seen a major token sale happen on LCX from Galileo Leo X. This was in cooperation with Quant because Leo X is utilizing Quant Network's QRC20 standardization. So this is huge in my opinion because as we do focus on a lot of these token sales and we look at compliant token sales, LCX could lead the way in that aspect because LCX is extremely regulated. But also outside of that, there's still a lot more to this. They have 9 licenses to operate in or as a regulated exchange, but they also make LCX a regulated crypto exchange, digital asset custody provider, a price oracle provider, digital asset compliance provider, smart contract creator, token offering platform, and as of December, a physical validator license for tokenizing diamonds. And I remember including this tweet in my last official LCX video from LCX Q&T, which did break LCX down fully and why there's still a lot more room to grow from LCX's side. I think right now, as everyone does focus on just like the exchange aspect around LCX, I think everyone's missing the bigger picture, which is we are starting to see the future of digital assets being realized in. And when we look at that, we also have to look at what LCX is trying to do in terms of like the tokenization market, but also outside of just tokenization, they're also working with a few of my favorite projects, which we will get to here in a second. But going back to the exchange itself, with a lot of like the issues that a lot of people were mentioning around like the exchange on this tweet, I want you guys to understand that we are starting to see them focus on the exchange. We're seeing them focus on the UI and the user experience. And here's that roadmap from January that we've seen get posted where they are going to be focusing on this. They're also focused on AI, DeFi growth, and tokenization itself. These are like the trends that they're focused on. Crypto goes mainstream as well. They're focusing on that, seeing what could happen if we start to see that. But also, there's a lot more to this. Blockchain banking. LCX does want to create a major bank around this. It's coming soon. It's in their plans. It's going to take some time. There's a lot of regulatory loopholes that they need to get around with that. But also, Product Roadmap 2023, LCX Exchange, Launchpad, they're focused on both of these. They're doubling down on these core products. And they're going to try to focus on not only their offerings, but also continue to drive growth and achieve their long term objectives around this. But also, they want to improve the user experience. They even say it down. I think it was down here or it might actually be all the way at the top up here. So yeah, their goals up here is to include the user experience around their exchange offering. I think that it might actually be here. So yeah, they want to focus on the user experience here, focusing on their regulatory advantages and adding new functionality. The LCX exchange will expand its value proposition and differentiate itself from other exchanges in the market. So that's very exciting. But also, outside of that, we focus on the partnerships. So let's go over here to the partnerships tab. So the first one is Hedera. You guys know me. I personally love Hedera. I think that Hedera is one of the also very undervalued, but also one of the most overlooked projects in the space. And recently, I should say up until recently, it was the most overlooked because now we're starting to see a lot of people looking into Hedera and what they are building. But the partnership with Hedera through LCX happened back in August of 2021. Now, I was personally investing into LCX during July and August of 2021 before it did a major run up. I think it did like a 10x or maybe like a 12x run at that time, and it was incredible. And it was because of the partnerships and what I seen LCX doing on why I was like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna be investing into this. When we go over here to the breakdown, so this officially happened back in July. It got posted back in July of 2021. This got fully announced on LCX's website in August of 2021. Here we have Hedera, Hashgraph, and LCX collaborate to develop infrastructures for digital securities. Now, this is a long list, but mainly to break it down for you guys, yes, they are working together to have this offering around security tokens and providing that major protocol, or I shouldn't even say protocol, but how should I say it? They're trying to become that infrastructure around these tokenized digital assets for these big giant names, like for an example, J.P. Morgan or Citibank, etc. Now, we do see the Hedera network will leverage the platform infrastructure of LCX to expand the Hedera token service with the addition of a new security token standard and provide secure, reliable, transparent, and compliant infrastructure for digital securities to its users. HTS will benefit from the Liechtenstein protocol, which offers compliance tokenization, on-chain asset management, on-chain identity, and provides organizations with the ability to a framework to build a new security token on the Hedera public ledger, with the ability to automatically enforce specific conditions that relate to legal and regulatory requirements applicable to securities and enables automated compliance of the tokenized asset and predefined requirements built in the code. So, when we look at that protocol, this is their proprietary protocol to deliver a chain agnostic token standard. And this intends to leverage the Hedera distributed ledger, or network, I should say, to establish a solution that will enable token issuers to access secure, reliable, transparent, and compliant infrastructure for digital securities. And this goes on and on to mention quite a bit of things around this. But overall, as we do look at this, the main thing that I want to focus on here and the main quote of all of this is LCX is leading the way in creating blockchain agnostic standards for the exciting area of digital securities, and by leveraging Hedera's unique properties of speed, security, and fairness with a low carbon footprint, which will accelerate the adoption of this emerging market. This is what I've been focused on with LCX. A lot of people call me crazy, but in my opinion, as we look at the evolution of this market, we will get to the point where we'll start to see institutional grade clients jumping in, and they're not going to utilize Binance for their security tokenization offerings. LCX is the perfect use case for this, and I do think that LCX will grasp a large portion of that institutional grade market when we start to see digital securities being utilized and also offered. So that's what I've been looking at with this, but also we take a look at what the Quant partnership has in store for LCX. So as we go over here to the partnership, this happened back in April of 2021, months before the partnership with Hedera. We've seen Quant partners with LCX to advance CBDC settlement implementation. We do see by collaborating on research and development and integrating their respective technologies, DLT thought leader Quant and crypto asset pioneer LCX will further accelerate the progression towards CBDCs. They have agreed a strategic partnership to leverage the synergies between the technologies of the two companies. By collaborating and integrating their respective technologies, the agreement will contribute significantly to the advancement of the banking and financial sector, particularly with respect to the implementation and settlement of CBDCs, banking stablecoins, and digital asset securities. Meaning, if this is the case, okay, we will see LCX become the leader around implementation and also offering for banking stablecoins and digital asset securities. If LCX becomes the leader behind the FX trading market as well, think about the opportunity that LCX will have. The FX market is a $7 trillion per day market in terms of transactional value. But also, as we look at CBDCs, banking stablecoins, digital asset securities, like this is a huge opportunity, and it's an opportunity that I would not bet against, to be honest with you guys. I personally look at LCX and I look at the utility here, I look at the security token offerings and all these tools that LCX does have to offer, and I think that it is going to become a huge giant going forward because I just don't see a world where these big leaders around the financial grade area are not utilizing something like LCX instead of something like, we'll say, Coinbase. Because everyone's focused on the bigger exchanges. Oh, why would I even invest into LCX when I could invest into BNB or, Crow or whatever? It's the idea that, like, when we take a look at these exchanges, like, if I was JP Morgan, am I going to tokenize my assets and list them on Coinbase, for an example? No. I'm going to utilize a security offering that is tried, tested, and true, aka LCX, and offer it on this exchange because it makes sense. Now, also, as we look down here, we do see as a pioneer in DLT technology, or just DLT, Quant is the world's first provider of true universal DLT interoperability, and the company's core technology over ledger is enabling the implementation of many national and international DLT projects. An example of such project is the partnership between LAC Chain, a global alliance led by the Inter-American Development Bank and Quant, who have integrated their technologies to create a new fast cross-border payments and interbank network for LAC region using tokenized currency. By flexibly tokenizing money using Quant's patent-pending multi-DLT token technology, LAC Chain will power a range of new solutions from interbank settlement and cross-border payments and remittance between private individuals, government, and corporate payments, as well as many other future LAC Chain use cases. Now, as we look at this, right, we know that DLT technology and we know that crypto is becoming a pivotal role in, or sorry, a pivotal piece and providing a significant role in the evolution of money itself. And as we look at that, we also look at the expertise between both of these major projects and how they can really complement each other. So, due to their expertise and technology leadership, Quant plays a key role in the global DLT interoperability. Together, we are pursuing the goal of translating this expertise into further growth, using LCX regulatory setup as a basis. In doing so, we hope to define a new industry leading standard that will open up the advantages of interoperable digital assets. And this is key. See, LCX needs Quant, and in my opinion, Quant will also need LCX at some point in time for a lot of those offerings from these tokenized assets around the banking sector, CBDCs, etc. But also, we see we're extremely pleased to announce this partnership between Quant and LCX. The implementation of CBDCs across the world is now a question of when, not if. Though some key challenges remain, our technology is already playing a critical role in helping to overcome these challenges, and this partnership with LCX accelerates progress still, or sorry, LCX accelerate progress still further by giving financial institutions, commercial banks, and end users in the financial sector even more options to settle between digital assets, securities, and also currencies. So, yeah, as we look at this, I really do think that these utility gems that are really focused on regulatory frameworks and regulations in general and being compliant, they're going to be extremely successful. LCX, in my opinion, has a lot to offer here from the digital asset space, but also this partnership, in my mind, goes back to the focus point up here, which is the idea of you have banking stablecoins, you have CBDCs, and you have digital asset securities. Tokenization is going to have a lot of securities tied to it. The exchange that is ready for this, and the exchange that was specifically developed, designed, and operating in order to focus on this area is LCX. I believe that LCX is going to be huge in the future, and I think that it's extremely undervalued right now because of that opportunity that it does have. When we go up here and we take a look at LCX itself, and we look at the value behind it. So let me just look up LCX real quick. I know that it is being a little bit annoying on Coin Market Cap. I know sometimes it doesn't want to bring up LCX as an actual crypto project, but instead it wants to bring it up on like a decentralized exchange. So here we have LCX. It's sitting at under $100 million market cap, fully diluted $110.9 million. I see a huge opportunity going forward on this. You can wait until you see a pullback if you guys don't already hold LCX. But when we look at what LCX is doing and when we look at the overall partnerships that it does have, I'm not fading this project. If you think that it's a high risk, if you think that it's just an exchange, then don't invest in it. I'm not trying to persuade anybody to invest into LCX. I just think personally that this is a token that I'm not going to overlook. I think that as we go forward on compliance, regulations, things like that are going to play a pivotal role in the success of a lot of these projects. And LCX being ahead of the game, LCX going out there, like the team behind LCX, Monty, for an example, the CEO, you could say what you want about him. I know a lot of people have a different look at him. Like, for an example, the CEO gives off used car salesman vibes too. I've looked at a lot of the interviews with him, specifically when he was talking to Gilbert Verdian, when he was talking to the individuals from Hedera, Lehman, and also Mant. I've looked at a lot of the major interviews, and honestly, from my perspective on what Monty is trying to do here, I think that he sees the vision behind crypto very similar to me and other individuals around the space, where we are going to get to that point in time where crypto is no longer a speculative asset class. It's going to be an asset class that is, you know. A $10 trillion plus asset class, and the value behind it will truly be realized and it'll be that asset class that's providing the technology that almost every single major institution and every single major, we'll just say like the global monetary system, right? The digital rails for that global monetary system will lie within this technology. And I think that it starts with tokenization, digitization, and those leaders, the leaders that are on the frontier of that, are going to be the ones that succeed greatly. And in my opinion, LCX is one of them. They're working with some of the top tier projects that I personally am invested into, like Quant and even Hedera. And there's a lot more to this as well. Like if you want to go to their other partnerships over here, like you could see infrastructure, like they have a ton of other major partnerships here as well. Constellation is one, Chainlink is also another one. Then they also have legal and regulation. You could read over everything that they are focused on around everything with compliance, regulation, stuff like that. To me, I'm not fading LCX. If you guys don't want to invest into it, you guys don't have to. I'm just letting you guys know my overall idea on why LCX is extremely undervalued. And with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because I'm on free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As it's up to you all. Have a beautiful day, beautiful night, wherever you guys are on this beautiful world. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.